Our next panel will discuss a very pressing subject, that is cybersecurity in Metaverse. And moderating this session is ex-Chief Cyber Officer at United Nations, Colonel Inderjeet Singh. Colonel Singh has served in the Indian Armed Forces. He's an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and Symbiosis Institute of Management. He's a doctorate of science in cybersecurity from Logos International University, Florida. He is an experienced information systems professional with experience of more than 30 plus years across a wide spectrum of areas spanning cybersecurity, operation leadership, and influencing policy level decisions in multiple organizations. Throughout his career, he has parlayed his extensive background in cybersecurity and deep knowledge to help organizations build and implement strategic cybersecurity solutions. Colonel Singh, thank you so much for taking your precious time out and gracing us with your presence today. We welcome you to Crypto World Conference.
Thank you, Anurad, and it's really a pleasure to be here today again. And really wonderful discussions I was seeing, and very inquisitive information which you're all, sharing on the platform. I think the people who are there joined, and I was listening. There are 1,000+ people right now, live seeing the presentation. So it's really very interesting today. And thanks everyone for joining and hosting me for this panel discussion. And everybody speaks of the metaverse and the way the metaverse is growing, and we have lots of kind of information about how the metaverse is growing. People talk of a single metaverse, people talk of multiple metaverses, but there's one challenge which is always along. The challenge is of the cybersecurity, right? Because any technology which comes up today, we also have a kind of a challenge. So that's where we're going to discuss, and I have with me a very august panelist who are there going to be talking about the cybersecurity in the metaverse. So I will introduce my panelist. So the first one, can I have the other panelists as well? Yeah. So my panelist is Vanvai. She's my panelist. Second is Shalini Paul, and third is the Yogesh Huja. So thank you for joining the panel, and very interesting just to introduce each one of my panelists, and then they can take it on. So Vanvai is the CEO and co-founder of Ikai Guide Metaverse Collective, IMC. As a top media education consulting and co-creation collective, she works to bridge the knowledge and resource gaps in the Asian metaverse industry. So really wonderful. And as a IMC counts, NYSE listed Nutanix, Philips, Hitachi, DBS, Crypto.com, and not-profit alliance companies. And she is one of the founding team members of DWIP South Asia Mode and Metaverse for All, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity Movement. So really wonderful. Thanks for joining, Vanvai. The other panelist I have is Shalini Paul. She's the founder and CEO of the Caliber Consultant, a blockchain metaverse 3.0 and emerging technologies consulting firm. And she extends her expertise globally to drive digital solutions using various emerging technologies. Her current special focus is on helping companies and the people to explore and navigate the metaverse safety and use it effectively for their business, entertainment, and education. Since April 2022, she holds an additional position of National President, Emerging Technologies Council at Women India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where her endeavor is to form the robust nationwide and international network of women in emerging technologies for mutual support, growth, and knowledge sharing. And my third panelist is Yogesh, and Yogesh is the MD of SwaranSoft, and he's a technology entrepreneur and author with 20 plus years of work. And under his leadership, SwaranSoft has worked for enterprise grade customers like Honda, Konica, GE, Saudi Aramco, Panasonic, Domino's, and many other top giants of industry for their digital transformation. And he's a keen innovator and mentoring lots of startups, ventures, and has been instrumental in founding startups named TravelX Connect UK, Facebook Apps.in, Nucleus Research, a big data product company. And really wonderful to have you all, three of you, and to take the discussions further. We've been talking of the metaverse, and I would like to listen each one of you as to what does the metaverse really is for you, and how do you see the challenges, right? And so that's this is the one question which I like to circulate, and you can say hello to all the listeners as well, and we take the discussions further. Over to you, Vanvai.
Okay, thank you so much for having me today. Very excited to be here. So the metaverse fundamentally has to be immersive, social, and interactive. So as long as these three conditions are present in any virtual world, we can consider it as a metaverse. So some of the key challenges is that a lot of capital is actually pouring into the metaverse space. We see like reports from JP Morgan saying that okay, it's going to be a 1 trillion industry, US dollar every year. So as the more capital flows into the industry, the more criminal attention it will attract. And that is why we have been seeing a lot of deep fakes, a lot of ransomware, a lot of hacks on NFT projects, so that criminals can actually use and hijack the process to get cryptocurrency for themselves, be it in Ether or in Solana tokens. So I guess as we see, I mean, criminals go where the money goes, and I think it's very human to do that. So these are the areas that we can all be careful of.
Yeah. Great, wonderful. And how about you, Shalini? What are your views on metaverse and the
Thank
challenges?
you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Colonel Indrajit and CWC for having me here today. Good evening, and to all the audience. Metaverse for me is actually both very exciting, full of opportunities and possibilities, but with tremendous challenges of obviously cybersecurity. For me, I would say metaverse can be divided as far as cybersecurity is concerned into three major distinguishes of concern. First, of course, is the platform, how secure it is, and what protocols it is using, how is it saving your data, how is it using your data, and what where it is storing your data, and is it and when how can you approach it, is it a good moderator, is it a good protector of your information. So all those things matter. And then of course is the hardware which you're using, like the AR machines, the VR headsets. Can they, if they are hacked, then they can really control your identities, they can just take over your life and you will not be able to do anything about it. And at that time, how important, the importance of the platform comes in. So the platform needs to be, trusted. And does it keep you safe? If you also know about things of safety of women and even other people, there's been so many incidents in the metaverse where people feel violated even without wearing those haptics suits. And of course the biggest is the identity verification of a person. Are you really you when you're entering the metaverse? So that is something that we can discuss today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think as an opening remark, it's really wonderful as to what are the challenges which are associated with it. So over to you, Yogesh.
Yeah, thanks, Colonel Singh. And it was really nice to understand the subject of trust is very crucial when we talk about cybersecurity. And what I feel, I've been working with a lot of enterprise grade customers. Forget about metaverse, think about normal cybersecurity. The subject is always the same. We are always living in a world where we have to think about a zero trust policy. That means like you cannot trust anything and you have to validate everything. So that means the framework has to come in a manner that the system, the users, the end user starts participating in the game. Because the problem in the metaverse is that you have right now the traction is missing. People are coining the idea, they are creating the experiences, and when they're creating the experiences, they're waiting for the end users to come and be part of this thing. I've seen a lot of players, banks playing a lot of crucial roles, telling that I heard Dr. Preet. So it's really great to have these kind of dialogues happening, because these are the stepping stones towards our actual goal, where when people are predicting that 2030 metaverse will be so much $1 trillion industry, it will happen only when we have the right frameworks in place, right basis behind it. So that's something that I would like to open with.
Yeah, of course, like we are already being seeing that Walmart joining the metaverse, and then Disney wants to build a metaverse, Nike building up a NFT and metaverse company. The products are being sold in the metaverse, and then the Microsoft itself building up its own metaverse. And very interestingly, we have seen the Interpol now launching a own global metaverse police, right? So it's a kind of a situation where we're seeing the metaverse really catching the eyes from the law enforcement side also, but at the same time there's so much of criminals which are there, and we already seen one of the rapes which happened in the metaverse, which is a real point of concern. So why you feel that the security is so important, and why there is a uh, need right now, and most of you have already brought up the problem of the identity, which is important. If you can highlight the identity aspect of it, and if you can highlight on the data aspect of it, I would like to listen to your view. So we'll go one by one, starting from one.
Okay, thank you so much. I actually very, very agree with Yogesh's point of view about the zero trust model, like always trust. No, sorry, never trust and always verify. I think that's important. And to his point, that I really agree with also is the point that when people start to fear the metaverse, then no matter how much money is poured into it, it will definitely affect the mass adoption of the metaverse. So I think this is why cybersecurity is important. It has to go in tandem with the capital inflow into the metaverse industry. If not, it won't make sense if like big tech companies or our decentralized open metaverses pour in so much money developing the tech side and ignoring the social side, and people get so scared and afraid, and in the end, all the money will go into waste. So I guess this is why cybersecurity is important to protect our users, because people and community are fundamentally at the core of the metaverse. And secondly, really what we do want as industry practitioners is to have the mass adoption of the metaverse together. Yeah.
Because even the interoperability part will become a major challenge when we are going to be talking of different metaverses which are going to come up, when we are saying that it's not be a single metaverse anymore. So yeah, over to you, Shalini.
Yeah, and what I really feel that for cybersecurity, there are two aspects to it. One, of course, is that how prepared are you to enter the metaverse? Are you aware about the risks? Do the platforms provide some kind of a training to people to understand? See, like for example, in the metaverse, AI plays a big part, right? And especially it is gathering a lot of our data. Do we know how much data we are giving away? So if you're giving away data, so like what is the happening with the data? So we have to be prepared. And then of course there are companies, what the social media, the way social media tries to use our data for furthering their maybe companies advertisement aims, or maybe political aims. Like in human beings are, we are subconscious human beings first, and then conscious human beings. So what happens is that if there is a flash of, like suppose I like a rose and I do not like a lotus, and then when I see a rose in a metaverse, the AI captures that, oh, she likes a rose, and then she doesn't like a lotus. And then when some event is going on and they want me to like some product or some person, or they have some aim, then they will flash fleetingly a rose because they know I like it, right? And if they don't want me to buy something, they'll just flash a lotus. That is subconscious influencing, which is going to now enter the metaverse. So that is a challenge. If people are trained for that, then they can learn to avoid it. So that's why we also feel that there should be some kind of, especially for children who can be influenced very easily, if they have some kind of a training, every platform should actually provide some kind of a training in which they can keep themselves safe. What is how then to be how they can block advertisements, how they can stop being spammed and influenced. Then I think that would really help.
Yeah, of course, training is very important to get into metaverse, because if you're going untrained, you can land up into a lot of trouble altogether. Yeah, over to you, Yogesh, for your
Yeah,
views on
yeah.
that.
In fact, what Shalini said, that AI and ML is playing a lot of good role, because yes, we need to process a lot of data, and starting from voice prints to face prints to because we're talking about digital identity, and this is not the real world. This is a virtual world where you need to be so data can only predict the right thing. And moving towards the next layer, which is, experience layer. What are you going to experience in metaverse? So are you going to experience a retail shopping experience? Are you going to experience a healthcare? So probably a lot of things are having. Now all of these things require a high bandwidth, so we need to depend on a telecom player. So 5G plays a good role. Hardware framework, plays a good role. And then we talk about the transaction layer. So all of these things, the ecosystem comprises of so many checks and balances, where every player has to play the role in ensuring the security in the ecosystem. And what we feel is that, today, when we talk about AR VR, experts, which are building amazing 3D experiences. uh, so I would like to just quote that I've invested into two startups. One is Malls of Globe, which is into retail sales of land in metaverse. So I can tell you with my experiences that, what goes when we talk to an investor, and when the investor says that, are you sure you're selling a land to me? Are you sure you're selling a Dubai mall space to me? And then second one is a crypto audit firm, which is where we are auditing the crypto coins. All of these things, we are talking about, ensuring that there is a business case in front, because then the regulatory will come and sit on top of it. RERA also didn't came in India, until the builders made a lot of goof ups. But I
Right.
think in crypto world, it will be reverse. The regulatory will, I think, will come first, and the experiences will follow. This is my gut feel.
No, you're right, because we need to have a regulatory framework, and that's what we are already. People are talking of meta corps and meta laws, and before even the metaverse is realized. So, because of the challenges which are already there of the Web 2, which we are seeing, and at the same time, I like now like to change the gears to the privacy issue, which is recent live with Web 2 itself, where all the companies like Meta and Twitter and all other social media platforms are actually taking your data away, and there are privacy issues, right? And these kind of privacy issues will also remain in the metaverse, because it's some company which is going to provide you the data, or the platform, and they're really going to take away your data and use it for monetizing purpose. So I would like to again go back to one of you, each one of you, and listen to your views on privacy issue and privacy related challenges in the metaverse. So anyone can take it on here.
I guess I can go first. Really quick
Yeah.
one, because I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
really strongly about this privacy thing, right? It's important to differentiate between privacy and secretive. So basically, private means that I can choose to make my data and information available to anyone I wish. But when something is secret, it means that nobody will know about it. So I think education-wise, it is important for people to distinguish between the two: private, what is private, and what is secret. So in privacy, I have a choice as a user. In secretive, I do I basically have full rights of my data if it's secret, if I choose to keep it fully secret. Meaning any protocol, any metaverse, as long as it is some way centralized, your data is never secret. Yeah, so this is very important. So back to the point on privacy, I think most end users do not know the extent of to which how our data and information is being used, which is to me scarier than what actually our options are. This is the point I want to make. Yeah.
yeah. No, it's a problem. Privacy is going to be a major problem. So over to you, yeah, Shalini.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an excellent point, brought out by Benway. It's really nice. Privacy versus secrecy. That is exactly the differentiation which people really should understand. And the challenge between centralization and decentralization also lies here, because in one side we want decentralization, which is wants to be anonymous, and but then how do you provide security and like privacy without any kind of identification. So this challenge is going to be there, which is going to keep on playing, and that's why I feel sometimes we might settle somewhere between a decentralized centralized system, wherein the centralization will be more transparent, and we will be knowing where our data is being used, and we will be having the option of whether sharing it, and like as when I said, being completely secret. An excellent point.
Yeah. And over to you, Yogesh.
Thanks. I would agree that privacy has to be defined in the boundaries, whether it's going to help me out or whether it's not going to help me out. I'll quote a nation, Estonia, which is 99.9% on blockchain. Only country which is the first country in the world, and Dubai has copied it, and copied in the sense means like taking inputs from the that thing. But they do their elections, they do everything. Now in that environment, I've seen those scenarios where when you walk out from a doctor's hospital, after consultation, the chemist has a medicine ready for you. So that's a health data, and they're very compliant that your health data must only reach to the point where it is required, nothing more than that. So GDPR, all of these things, what we are, because these are the mature systems which takes care of the privacy. And privacy, you need to define that where my data is going in, and I should have all the time control. I can stop the tap wherever I want. It should not be free flowing water that today Alexa or a Google, okay Google is listening me out and presenting me some ads. So we need to be guarded in the metaverse, because when we land up into some 3D experiences or something, and incidents which are really not appropriate in the real world, same, we cannot have those kind of things. I cannot expect my kids to go into metaverse any day if that's not safe. So I need to know where the data is flowing in and how we can safeguard it and use it for the benefit. So my take on privacy is that.
And what another challenge is the AR VR devices which are there. Now they bring in their own kind of challenges of the VR taking away your all the facial components and all the artifacts which are there. AR stealing the data. So how do you really throw light on the AR VR challenges, because this is again a major kind of cyber threats which is going to emanate for the data privacy and the data stealing or the data breach. So over to you, Ed.
I guess for the is a very good question, because for like your VR headsets, there might be, I mean, big tech companies, they are still manufacturing those physical headsets, right? And there's a big difference when we allow people, or allow as users, allow the big tech companies to use our data by default. So there's an option saying that, okay, by using the headset, we allow, let's say, a certain big tech company to use my data by default, versus we do not allow by default. So I wish more end users can be educated about what we are consenting to when we are using the VR headset, because just by our iris data alone, there's a lot of health data that can be retrieved from just our iris. And really, we do not know what the headsets are collecting of our personal data every moment. And it's only a matter of consent, right? That's why the checkbox is important, like what we are consenting to. I mean, even as a practitioner myself, I do not know what I'm consenting to currently, because at this point in time, I'm just experimenting. But as we move into a more serious stage of mass adoption, maybe certain terms and conditions will change, because after all, big tech companies are centralized entities. So I think we have to be more cautious and aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Over to you, Shalini.
Yeah, so I read an article, very interesting article on the cybersecurity threats to VR headsets and as and the AR glasses. Now it's slightly different for both. For VR, like suppose these are programs, like, and you are in this immersive world, right? You are in your avatar. What if a hacker hacks into your headset? It hacks into you. It hacks into your avatar, takes over your avatar, takes over everything, takes over your identity. Then how are you going to prove? It's a very big risk. And this is and again, this is one part of the risk. The second part of the risk again is the same thing, that if you got enough protocols ready, have you downloaded enough those apps which can stop the spamming, so keep your headset absolutely safe from any kind of hacking, because headset hacking can be very, very dangerous. So that is something which is very important. And what happens in AR is like, if you know, AR is like, it is an overlay into a real world. Suppose the information is hacked, and if you're using an AR for, you know, as a map, you know, to go somewhere, and if that is hacked and you send somewhere else, the location is, you know, so you know, it is like you going somewhere, you need to go somewhere else and you go somewhere else. So all these challenges are there. And where exactly, then that's why we need, you know, we need very, very strong protocols, you know, so to protect these hardware, hardware products, as well as the software inside them, so that, you know, we can be completely safe. But obviously it's challenging, it's never perfect. We're always following the, you know, the perpetrators in this regard, but then obviously that is the only way to go. So this is what my say
Yeah.
is then.
Yeah. Yeah. Over to you, Yogesh, please.
Yeah. So, Colonel Singh, I would like to say that whenever we import any hardware into any country, so there is a regulatory. But the game here is that this is not a hardware. This is a hardware bundled with a software. So that means the moment it reaches to the end user, wherever it is going to be, the information can change. I experienced wonderful, a suit in the GITEX conference last week, which was like you wear that suit, and then there's a program that runs in. It'll make you like Muhammad Ali, or a super boxer, and when you punch somebody, it'll actually punch with that intensity what the boxer is going to hit actually. So this is, I'm not doing that, it's somebody else doing that. So there is a suit which is a hardware, there's a program which is a software, I'm just a body inside. So whether it's a AR, VR, anything, what is happening is that we need to see, it has to be a responsible role play of everybody. Like starting from OEM or the manufacturers or the visionary people. You should not be data greedy. You can be hungry for the data to process it with rules, but this has to be structured and laid down in a very, very appropriate manner. And then only people will be feeling more comfortable, more trustworthy to participate into the real game of metaverse.
Because we're already seeing the threats which are there, which you all have listed out, and we are seeing the present day crimes of like cyberbullying, cyber stalking, rapes happening, frauds happening, NFT thefts happening. So they're all there while we are getting to the metaverse. So there's nothing changing on that side. So before we close, so what's your take on the keeping the crime out of metaverse? How do you perceive it? What's your thought process on that? If you can throw light on that particular aspect, because it's a huge topic, but we like to kind of restrict within the
Sure.
time and have the discussions close in time. Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Over
you
to you,
want me?
Vance. We can start
We
one by
can
one.
plan this first.
That cycle. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'll start it first then. I think if there's a one takeaway, I think everyone has to remember that don't fight the metaverse, because just on the sheer amount of capital that's entering the market, it is already a very big force to reckon with. So I think as individuals, let's have the view that it is going to be inevitable. It's a little bit pessimistic if you really hate the metaverse and you don't want your, for example, kids or nephews to be have their eyes glued to hardware devices the whole day, like your mobile phone and your laptop, playing games and things like that. With that in mind, then we can start to build consciousness and awareness to our children and our nephews or nieces, because there's also a very dark side to the metaverse, like your dark verse, where criminal activities abound, and you don't want people to use like the voice chat function of a metaverse to attack emotionally and psychologically on your kids when you can't even see the actual harm, because physical harm you can see bruises, but emotional trauma is invisible, right? So there are already such incidents happening and widely reported. So the main point here is let's be aware that things like that are probably going to happen, and as parents or adults, how can we equip ourselves and our children with the necessary skill set to be street smart also in the metaverse, not just in real life. Yeah.
Yeah. And over to
Excellent.
you. Yeah, Shani.
Yeah, excellent point. So my points are also similar. There are just two aspects to it. First of all, understanding the risks. and how to navigate safely inside the metaverse, what to like to almost have like a license to drive around the metaverse, to be aware so much that what are the risks involved, where to go in case if you are in trouble, which platforms are safe, how to gauge the safety of a platform, and how to like basically protect yourself. That is the first part. Second part, of course, is the importance of APIs and other protocols. We have to have some understanding of these software and how they are, if they are good enough in the platform or not. So all those things I think are very important.
Yeah. No, it's a well said point. Yeah. Over to you, Yogesh.
Yeah. So I would like to give a perspective that today we manage a lot of corporate website, e-commerce website for our customers, and there's a lot of cyber attacks that happens every day. So on my email, there is a regular dossier that comes that these many attacks have happened today, and these includes various sets of, and I have a absolutely right framework, because we cannot let our customers go down. So we need to have a cyber policing definitely in metaverse. It's a key role to be played by a certain set of maybe industry players, who will ensure that whoever enters the metaverse, their digital identity is checked, whoever is playing in that metaverse is being fenced. When you go and transact, somebody is going to make sure that your transactions are being verified through that channel. So those things will definitely make it very easier, and it is not very difficult because we have lived the world of internet last 20 years. So it will be much easier. The only thing is that we're building for this thing for kids coming 10 years behind. So whatever we're building, keep that in mind, and I think we'll be doing a really fantastic job.
Yeah, for sure. And we've been already been talking of a digital citizenship kind of thing, where we want to give knowledge to the kids, know about their rights, know about their rules, and that's the way forward, I feel. And thank you so much, each one of you. And for sure, metaverse is going to transform the society over the next 10 years, for sure. That's what we are seeing. People are telescoping it to another 5 years. So that's how it is going to be. But the data security, your identity thefts, the problems which are there today are going to be similar or even worse than what is going to be there today, what we see on the social media. And very rightly, you brought in that now is the time to think about the meta laws, the regulation, the governance, and how to be in the metaverse and be a safe metaverse citizens. So thank you very much, and over to you, Anurad. And I think we
Thank you.
bang on time, of 30
Yes,
minutes. Thank you very much
yes, yes,
for the
yes,
wonderful
yes.
replies,
Thank
each one
you.
of.
Thank you. A big thank you to Karan Singh and all our panelists. I think one of the most insightful sessions of the Crypto World Conference, and I'm hoping that our audience has truly enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again in the next iteration of Crypto World Conference.
So thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.